Hi, everyone. Deborah here from the I Do team. I am a relationship coach with Garden of Eden Wedding Chapel. And today I'm going to go ahead and talk to you of what I call the dating pyramid. This is for men or women who are searching for their one. And I use this diagram to show individuals that when you are meeting people and you're trying to get an understanding of I keep dating the same individuals. I want to elevate from this. I want to find what am I doing wrong or why am I choosing wrong? So when it comes to selecting and using the word of God to help us when it comes to why we want to go ahead and start elevating our thinking and elevating our selection and what to keep into mind when doing so. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the Word of God, going to Exodus chapter 20. So today it's called the dating pyramid. Go ahead and we'll put that up here. And this pyramid is going to show you 3 levels. You've got level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's dive into the word. It's Exodus chapter 20, verse 18. All the people witnessed the thunder and lightning, the sound of the ram's horn, and the mountain surrounded by smoke. And the people saw, they trembled and stood at a distance. You speak to us, and we will listen, they said to Moses. But don't let God speak to us, or we will die. Verse 20. Moses responded to the people, don't be afraid, for God has come to test you so that you will fear him and will not sin. And the people remained standing at a distance. Moses approached to the total darkness where God was. And we're going to jump over to Exodus chapter 24, and we're going to read verses 1 and 2. And it reads like this. Then he said to Moses, go up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of Israel's elders. And now in worship at a distance. Moses alone is to approach the Lord, but the others are not to approach, and the people are not to go up with him. And so taking these verses, this is how I cut up the difference of those who stand afar off from God, those who can only come a distance, and those who are close to him. So on the lower level, we're going to call it this earthly poor and kingdom poor. And so here, what you have are individuals who live a lifestyle that is leaned more into maybe poverty and poverty mentality. They lack that connection with the Lord. And so if we can think of God being all the way over here at this point, how far away maybe someone is from God. And so when it comes to their habits, when it comes to their lifestyles, in Exodus, Moses had specifically told them, do not fear, for God has come to test you, and that his fear may be before you so that you may not sin. And so when somebody is living a very simple lifestyle, they tend to be a little more, they're more perverted in their thinking, even in their doings and their dealings with life. They're being reckless when it comes to how they're handling their finances. They're being reckless on how they're handling their spirituality. And so here they've got this poverty lifestyle, and they've got a poverty spiritual lifestyle as well. In this pool, there is quite an amount. So again, pay attention to how they're handling their life here on earth, but also how are they dealing with things spiritually and when it comes to the living God. So if they're earthly poor, kingdom poor, you're probably going to find a lot in this aspect. So if you're looking for a husband, if you're looking for a wife, and if you're dating in this pool right here, you're going to have to be dealing with a lot of issues, maybe financially, sin issues. And so you kind of start to capture the pattern. Now, and actually, let me go ahead and let me strengthen this by using a verse. And we're going to go over to John 3, verse 12. And it reads like this: I have told you earthly things, and you do not believe. How can you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? So now let's go ahead and let's jump to the mid-level area. And here, I'm going to go ahead and this is what I label earthly rich, but yet they're still kingdom poor. And men or women in this category, in this mid-level category, maybe they do have a lot of possessions. Maybe they are rich in when it comes to their homes, their lifestyles, or maybe they did capture some natural or principles that they're putting into practice when it comes to discipline, when it comes to how they're making choices when it comes to finances, or how they're making choices when it comes to their behavior. So maybe they are living a lifestyle that is more comfortable, maybe even very rich, very lavish. So even the very rich may fall in this category. However, they are still kingdom poor because they're very rich in earthly things, but they may also be very rich in sin. And so you have to keep that into mind. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to strengthen this level with 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. And it reads like this: But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. So when a man or a woman has more tendencies of feeding their flesh, of their desires to be famous, their desire to be known, they're looking for the spotlight, they're looking for doing things that are maybe to grab attention. They're driving the best cars, they're living in the best houses. Again, so whether somebody, just because they're not earthly poor and they're living very rich, but if they still lack on spiritual discernment, they still don't have a relationship with Christ, they still don't have a relationship with God, they're still kingdom poor. And so again, we saw from the Israelites, they were letting Moses know, no, you go up for us and we'll stay right here. There's a lot of complacency that's happening here, a lot of apathy, things of that nature in the spiritual realm. And when it comes to here, we see that God had told Moses, okay, you can go ahead, you can come up here with Aaron and Nadab and 70 other leaders. However, then they were stopped at a certain level. And the only one that could enter into this level was Moses. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to touch base on this one. I call it earthly rich. They're earthly rich, but they're now also kingdom rich. We're going to strengthen this with 1 Corinthians 2:13. And it reads like this. And we impart these in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit to those who are spiritual. And so these individuals have a very precious attribute. They carry wisdom upon earthly riches. Maybe they're very wise when it comes to their financial dealings. They're very wise because they use the word of God. Because if you didn't know, so the Bible has over 2,000 verses when it comes to finance. And so when you're dealing with your own personal finance, with business finance, things of that nature, you can use the word of God to help you in disciplining you on earthly matters, even like finance. So they can be earthly rich, but one of the key things that they have is that they're kingdom rich. Just like Moses had that direct connection with God, and he was having that one-on-one conversation. So through Moses, government was formed, and we see that in the book of Deuteronomy. Our very first government was formed in that book. And so this is where we also see the book of Proverbs, the book of Psalms, where we look at the book of Ecclesiastes. There we get word from King Solomon, one of the richest and wisest man that ever lived on this earth. And so I want to highly recommend that when you are getting to know somebody, when you're dating or you're looking, don't be so focused about how many, having to meet that person right away. So you're saying, why is my dating pool still the same? Why am I still in the same pattern? Why haven't I? It's that you need to start elevating yourself and start elevating your selection from stop dating the same kind of individuals. Or maybe if you're just looking at somebody who holds materialistic possessions, but yet they're still kingdom poor, that's still not dating at the top of the pool. And so I want to highly recommend for those who are searching, who are dating, to start praying for meeting the one that is in this realm, but also start praying for yourself, that you can elevate your thought processes and your selections and your dealings of life going upwards. So if you are already married, that's okay. Go ahead and just keep moving up the mountain. Keep going upwards. Start using the word of God to go from earthly poor dealings to get earthly rich dealings. It's okay to use the word of God to also grow in kingdom business. So again, I thank you for listening, giving me a moment of your time to listen to this teaching. This isn't about condemning anyone. This is about helping all of us as a community to grow economically and also grow spiritually. So I wish you the best. I pray for you. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to connect with you. God bless.